The psychology behind the sting. When affection turns into pain, we look for logic where there is only emotion. He texts her softly. She leaves him on read. He confesses. She laughs it off. And beneath his confusion, something ancient stirs, a feeling that's half desire, half despair. Why does she do it? Why does anyone enjoy another's pain? In psychology, there's a phenomenon called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that keeps gamblers pulling the lever long after they've lost everything. When affection is given unpredictably, reward, silence, reward, the brain floods with dopamine each time, begging for the next hit. It's not cruelty at first, it's control. But sometimes that control starts to taste like power, especially for those who once felt powerless themselves. In the smallest flinch of another person's face, they find proof that they matter, that they can affect someone, that they're no longer invisible. It's not about sadism in the cinematic sense. No whips, no violence. It's something subtler, quieter, a social form of emotional sadism, born not from hatred, but from hunger, the need to feel alive through someone else's suffering. The one who controls your hope controls your heart, because cruelty in modern love rarely looks like rage. It looks like silence, perfectly timed, devastatingly calm. And sometimes silence hurts more than words ever could. The role of unresolved trauma and power. Every sadist was once a victim, not always in the physical sense. Sometimes it's emotional, invisible, and unspoken. Picture a young girl who once cared too much, who cried when someone ignored her, who loved without being loved back. Each rejection carved something quiet into her, a vow that said, "Never again will I be the one who hurts first." Years later, that vow becomes instinct. She learns to wield detachment like a weapon, to smile at your longing, to delay her reply not out of cruelty, but out of self-preservation disguised as dominance. In psychology, this is often the echo of trauma repetition. The mind unconsciously recreates the pain it once endured, but this time from the other side, to feel in control of it, to prove it doesn't hurt anymore. And so, she flips the script. The once abandoned becomes the abandoner. The ignored becomes the one who ignores. It's not pure sadism. It's survival dressed in sophistication. Control becomes her armor, and indifference her proof of strength. What she calls power is often just pain wearing heels. But here's the tragedy. Every armor is also a cage, and the harder she tries not to feel, the emptier she becomes inside. Narcissism, mirror games, and emotional supply. She doesn't want love. She wants reflection, a mirror that confirms her worth, even if it shatters you in the process. When love becomes performance, empathy turns into strategy. Every gesture of kindness becomes data. Every reaction, a measurement of control. In psychology, this is the domain of narcissistic supply, the quiet addiction to being the emotional center of another's world. She doesn't need to dominate with words. She dominates with absence. The more you crave her attention, the more valuable she feels. It's an economy of emotion. She invests little, collects much. At first, you think you're building connection, but what's really happening is a series of mirror games. You show her affection. She mirrors it back, only to withdraw once you're hooked. You chase, she retreats. You retreat, she suddenly becomes warm again. Each move is psychological theater, not always conscious but effective, because the narcissistic impulse isn't driven by evil, it's driven by emptiness. A deep, gnawing void that demands constant proof of importance. You become the proof. Your pain, her validation. Your confusion, her calm. To someone starving for validation, your suffering is proof they exist. But no one can feed a void forever. Sooner or later, even pain stops being enough. The cultural mirror. When cruelty becomes currency, it's easy to blame the individual. Harder to see the system that rewards her behavior. We live in a culture that has rebranded detachment as strength and empathy as weakness. Don't catch feelings. Stay mysterious. Make them chase. It's not advice, it's ideology. Social media turned romance into a marketplace of attention, where value is measured in reactions, not relationships. Every ignored message, every soft ghost, every breadcrumb of affection becomes part of the game. Cruelty is no longer hidden. It's aesthetic. It's a performance of superiority. And in that performance, distance becomes desirable. The modern woman, raised in a world that told her never be vulnerable first, learned that power doesn't come from love, but from withholding it. That control is safer than intimacy. That mystery sells better than sincerity. But here's the irony. The more we turn love into performance, the lonelier we become. Each side defending, testing, manipulating, waiting for the other to break first. Affection becomes armor, honesty a liability. And in this emotional economy, cruelty pays higher dividends than compassion. In a world that monetizes attention, indifference is the new power move. But beneath that power lies something fragile, a terror of being seen, without performance, without filters. The fear beneath, why intimacy feels like exposure. Beneath the coldness, there's fear. Not hatred, not cruelty, just the unbearable terror of being known. When you strip away the aesthetics, the social scripts, the detached confidence, what remains is a nervous system trained by pain. Every past betrayal becomes a warning. Every moment of vulnerability, a potential wound. Love feels dangerous not because it hurts, but because it can. For many, intimacy feels like standing under a spotlight, exposed, judged, defenseless. The more someone cares, the higher the stakes. What if they see the flaws? What if they leave once they do? So instead of risking rejection, they preempt it. They sabotage closeness before it can sabotage them. It's the paradox of the avoidant attachment. Craving connection, but fleeing when it arrives. They want to be held, but only from a distance. Loved, but not seen. And that's why your care feels threatening. It pierces the armor. It reminds them of everything they've buried. The child who once reached out and was met with silence. The heart that once trusted and paid for it. So they pull away, not because your love repels them, but because it awakens what they worked so hard to forget. To the wounded heart, love doesn't feel safe. It feels like danger wearing kindness. But there's a breaking point, a moment when even avoidance collapses under the weight of its own emptiness. The collapse, when control turns into loneliness. Control was supposed to protect her. The coldness, the distance, the selective affection, all carefully crafted armor. But armor doesn't just keep danger out. It keeps life out. At first, it feels powerful. To withhold, to make someone chase, to decide when connection happens and when it doesn't. But over time, the silence grows heavier. The thrill fades, and the mirror starts reflecting what she never wanted to see. Herself, alone, misunderstood, unloved, but by her own design. Because control, in the end, is a slow form of self-abandonment. She thought she was protecting her heart when she was really starving it. Each test, each manipulation, each emotional retreat built another wall between her and what she secretly longed for. It's a quiet tragedy. A woman scrolling through old messages, hovering over your name, wondering why she misses a pain she created. She doesn't realize it yet, but her isolation isn't punishment from you. It's the echo of her own defenses closing in. In psychology, this moment is called the emotional collapse of the avoidance cycle, when the illusion of power crumbles and loneliness rushes in to take its place. It's the first step toward awakening, or the final step into bitterness. Every wall built to keep others away becomes a prison for the one who built it. But some don't awaken. They double down. They choose pride over peace. And that's when the story turns truly dark. The final act, when pride replaces love. Pride. It's the last mask left when love has died, but the ego still wants to live. She can't admit she misses you. That would mean surrender. She can't apologize. That would mean vulnerability. So she rebrands the loss as liberation. She tells herself you were weak for caring too much, naive for wanting connection, foolish for believing in something real. But beneath that defiance, the silence is deafening. Pride may numb the pain, but it never fills the void. It's a hollow victory, the kind where no one claps because no one's left. In Jungian terms, this is the shadow triumphant, when the wounded self fully identifies with its armor. The tender heart is buried. The manipulative persona becomes the new identity. And love, once a sanctuary, turns into a battlefield of subtle revenge. You can't save someone from this stage, because they no longer seek healing, they seek dominance. They don't want to connect, they want to win. And in this game, victory is measured by how much the other suffers. Yet, ironically, every act of revenge is also an act of remembrance. She hurts you because she still feels you, because the ghost of what you were still lingers in her chest, whispering what pride refuses to hear. You loved her, and that love still matters. But not for her anymore. For you. Because now you understand. You see the cycle, and you step out of it. You no longer chase ghosts. You no longer bleed to prove your worth. You walk away, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in silence. The kind of silence that ends a story and begins a man's rebirth. Let her have the power. You take your piece. And in that final act, the dynamic collapses. Control loses meaning. And for the first time, she feels what you once felt, the emptiness of being unseen. The awakening. The pain was the lesson. There comes a moment, quiet, unremarkable, almost invisible, when the ache turns into understanding. When you stop asking why she did it and start asking why you stayed. That's the moment you awaken. Not because you've healed, but because the illusion has finally lost its power. You see, her cruelty was never about you. It was the mirror, reflecting your deepest wound. You need to earn love through suffering. Every cold text, every silent treatment, every manipulation. It was your psyche reenacting an old script, one written long before her. Psychologists call it repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to relive the same pain until it's understood. And that's what this was, a lesson disguised as heartbreak. A test of self-worth wearing the mask of romance. You wanted her love, but what you really needed was your own. So you let the pain teach you. You let the betrayal burn through every illusion you've ever clung to. And from the ashes, something new begins. Not anger, not revenge, but sovereignty. Because when you no longer crave validation from chaos, you become untouchable. You become free. She was not your punishment. She was your mirror. And in that truth lies the quiet power of every man who's finally awakened. He no longer hates her. He no longer needs her. He simply thanks the pain for showing him the way back to himself.